Good morning. We are out adventuring again. We are in Danville, California, which is east of San Francisco, to go to a museum. Now hold on. It's not that kind of museum. This one's a little weird. It's a bit split personality. Because on one hand, there's classic cars. And then on the other hand, there's
cars.
Indigenous Californians. And then on the third hand, Harry, give me a hand.
There's Mopars.
There's ancient China. Oh, and there's wild animals too. Because if you're gonna be out there, you might as well really go for it, right? So let's go for it. One of the truly unique things about this place is it's kind of in a mini mall with these great gardens and water features and sculptures, lots of fun things to go see, do, and places to eat. Let me show you. All right, as promised, wild animals. I didn't say they were alive. So we do happen to love cars, and that's what brought us to the Blackhawk in the first place. The fact it has so much else to share is what brought us back. And if you want to have a private event here, look how glamorous. How fun would it be to have one here? Because of the private event, there were quite a few less cars on display than the last time we visited. But that didn't mean that there wasn't a lot of truly spectacular car art on display for us this time.
And they have some seriously rare cars here. This is a 1940 Cadillac town car, one of 53 ever built. Simply gorgeous. This is number 53 of 53.
Yeah, having a private event here would be so cool. Cars are art to me, and I really love the details, like the interiors of these two cars. This one looks like it should be out of that old movie Dick Tracy.
And this is two cars that look like they should be in the shadow.
And just in case you love bikes, how's that for a vintage motorcycle? From cars designed to look like airplanes to pink on display, there are plenty of one-of-a-kind cars here for you to enjoy, like this one that looks like Cruella would be right at home in it. And now I kind of want one as a coffee cart. So that is not to say they don't have modern cars here too, like this Ferrari. If you are a Ferrari enthusiast, this is a place for you. The kids really seem to love the old cars that were here. Occasionally we come across some that we've never heard of before. This one says it's a Delahaye, and it has no information on how many were produced. I think it's kind of rare. The Delahaye Automotive Company was founded in 1894 in France and was famous for its heavily stylized cars, including race cars. The cars are only one floor of this diverse museum. Time to explore some more. So now we've headed to an upper floor where we're going to go see the Spirit of the Old West. This has a lot of really moving things in it, but if you have young kids, they might be upset by some of it. So it's very honest about Indigenous people here and how they were treated across the West. But it is so interesting. If you can, come check it out. So it's 3 floors, but the mezzanine part really doesn't have very much. And we found out there's a whole other wing now that we will check out a bit later. Say hi to Harry.
This is an exhibit about a Wells Fargo stagecoach and the famous Black Bart, who robbed 28 stagecoaches in his career over, looks like 5 or 6 years.
The history of the white man in America is not our finest moment. We appreciate museums that don't hide those facts.
So as you may have learned in previous films, I'm not a huge fan of taxidermy. It kind of creeps me out. But at the same time, you know, not everybody can see animals in the wild, so kind of a cool way to see them.
In this section, you get to learn what it's like to pack for a journey that takes you all the way across the U.S. Packing your guns, your personal effects, even your Bible.
So our California missions are beautiful. I am myself making my way through to photograph all 21 of them, but they don't have the greatest history either. I do think they need to be preserved and protected, and that history revealed. All the good, all the bad.
So how many have you done of the missions?
I have done 19 out of the 21 missions and hope to finish that up this year. One thing really interesting about this museum is it does give it from both perspectives. That of the white man settling and that of the Indians trying to preserve their heritage and their lives. One of the super cool things they have here is this extensive diorama. So I'm going to show you parts of it. Does that gate look familiar? So as you go along, you'll see the numbers. That circle that we just showed you, that's what those numbers correspond to. When we say this diorama is huge, we mean it is huge. It extends from one end of the room to the other.
The Plains Indians call the railroads the iron horse, and they call the telegraph the talking, whispering wires. As each moved its way west, it chipped away at the Indians' freedom.
The museum is cut into 2 different halves. One dedicated to the soldiers and the pioneers who came to settle, and one dedicated to the indigenous people. Their artwork is amazing. Community and spirit, stories and folklore.
The first peoples arrived around 25,000 years before the white man. They cared for the land as they cared for themselves and felt as much a part of it as the rocks, trees, animals that they lived beside. It only took the white man 100 years to completely change this way of life. From the disease they brought to the wars they waged, and finally to the reservations and the demand for assimilation into white society. It's heartbreaking.
So this is a Cheyenne dog soldier. The dog soldiers were the elite military organization in the tribe. They were the last line of defense for the people and were greatly esteemed. The warriors in the society were outfitted with a particular sash which trailed the ground, and each member carried a sacred arrow. So in the times of battle, the dog soldier would impale the sash to the ground and stand the ground to the death.
I don't think I've ever seen a headdress like that before in my life. That's incredible. And speaking of incredible, look at this one.
The blending of art and craftsmanship in everything from their clothing to their pottery to their weapons and ceremonial tools is beautiful. One of the things that museums are trying to do is correct history. As students, we know the names of these chiefs, but not much else. If we had been taught something more, it's usually incorrect or incomplete. Museums like this one try to tell the true history so that we can learn from our past as well as the amazing stories of people like these leaders. Something we tend to forget is that this way of life, these traditions, and this culture lives on. While we do not see it in our everyday society as much as we should, it doesn't mean it's not a culture that's being lived and celebrated still in the U.S. today.
There are plenty of places to sit and enjoy, to soak in the history and the meaning of these exhibits. There have been so many rivers I cannot imagine crossing in something like this, but it was watertight and absolutely worthy of crossing a river. And my favorite watercraft. Truly works of art. Okay, we walked into this place and it is rather sensory overload. Wow. Really? Wow.
The name of this gallery really says it all, the art of Africa. Once you enter, you are immersed in simply gorgeous works of art.
The use of wood in here is amazing, but check out all of this beadwork.
I kept trying to figure out how the beading was applied to the wood sculptures, but never did manage it. Even the musical instrument section was filled with pieces that were intricately carved and ornate. One of our favorite pieces was The Great Migration. You start out with the history, and then you get to enjoy this sculpture of hundreds of wildebeest, zebras, and gazelles, which is about 12 feet long. Just incredible work.
What is your favorite mask?
Okay, so for me, I'm looking at all of them strictly from an art perspective, not a historical perspective, and I love this one. Let me show you. I love the little cutout. All right, your turn. What is your favorite mask?
I have two. Ha! This one? I mean, it just looks so. It just looks cool. That's a
That
cool
is really
person.
cool. And?
This little bug guy at the end there. I don't know what that is.
Oh, that looks like a crane on there. You kind of look from the side.
Almost looks like it's hard to be a mast, though, you know?
It has all sorts of different details there, including what looks like to be a crane.
There's no function on it.
The last time we visited the Blackhawk, this gallery was getting ready to open, so it was a main reason we wanted to come back this time.
Wow, look at that. That is stunning.
And this piece is unbelievable. Thousands of finely carved details make up this complete sculpture, and you'll be able to find something new every time you look. From temples to Buddha to cranes and even dragons, there is just so much to discover.
The artistry is just breathtaking. I'm going to try to capture this for you, but I gotta tell you, this is incredible. All of the artistry here is just breathtaking. I feel like every single section is filled with a million little details. I'm glad I'm capturing this on film because I'll be able to go back and truly examine each section. Makes me wish I could walk behind it. So I'll bet you there's even a million more details there. Incredible. I'm going to try to capture this, but I don't think there's a way to see how fine the stitches are. And this is not painted. It's embroidery. It's stitched.
The silk was so shiny it glowed. Simply stunning. The history of China is covered in each section. If you have the time, you'll be able to learn so much about civilization, its art, and people just from the labels on the walls.
The artistry and history here is just incredible.
While these are intricate replicas cast from the original priceless specimens located in China, we were thrilled to see them up close. The details in the facial features, the armor, just amazing to see in person. In fact, this whole section was different from the rest of the exhibition, that it was so engaging in a totally different way. In the center of the main gallery are these beautiful jade sculptures, but you can't miss the incredible Forbidden City diorama. This is a replica of the 980 structure complex located in Beijing, China. As with Dreamland, the details are amazing. Buddhism has its own small gallery here, but it's very worth your time to explore. I personally love the sayings of Buddha, as you may have learned in our Glacier National Park video when we visited the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas in Montana. I find them to be positive and affirming, and we all need more of that in this world. Please throw a little positivity our way and bop that like button. It helps our channel so much. Just down from the Into China exhibition hall is the World of Nature. It really is beautifully done, but I could see within seconds that I was going to find it too overwhelming.
I'm going to film this part because Kat kind of gets creeped out by natural history museums. But this one's pretty cool.
With over 600 species on display, this is an amazing way for kids and adults to learn more about the animals of our world. In each section, there are interactives for you to explore and learn about the animals in that area. We really wanted to share this exhibition hall with you so that you have an idea of what it feels like to tour it, and be prepared in case anyone in your party is sensitive to taxidermy, the idea of so many animals in one place, or if you thought someone might be frightened by some of the posing of the animals. There's also an ongoing soundtrack of animal calls that some might find overwhelming.
Predators on one side, prey on the other.
Harry really enjoyed this museum section, and if we had not been running tight on time, he would have spent more time exploring. The Blackhawk is a truly unique museum experience.
Like Cal was saying before, this is outside the front of the museum, and it's really interesting. It is in the end of a mall, so there's a lot of stuff to do, but there's, the playground for the kids over there, and this man-made lagoon with the birds. It's a pretty neat place.
We had planned 3 hours for this trip and ended up spending 4. So much to see here. All right, guys, we are going to sign off for today. We are grabbing kind of an early dinner at a place that we love called Clementine's. It's all Cajun food, which means we're going to start off with crawfish tail appetizers, probably throw some gumbo in there, a po' boy, something yummy to end our day. So take care, safe travels, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Next up, our Grand Circle National Park Tour. 5 states and 10 national parks. So make sure to subscribe and come along.